What is up, Bull Nation, and welcome to today's video. Guys, today I have for you a build that you've never seen before on the internet. This is really called the Bestiality build, and it's going to be focusing primarily on the Quinceañera weapon. I know it's not called Quinceañera, but I kind of want to go with that one. I know it's called Cinquedea, but we're going to be focusing primarily on this weapon, and this build is amazing. As you guys are seeing right here on the footage, you are noticing a couple of things. Number one, there's a lot of things in play here. We're taking a full use of all the bestiality incantations, and we're getting our health back, we're getting FP back, and we're doing a lot of damage with this particular build. So if you like powerful stuff and want to try something new, then you're definitely going to want to stick to this video and find out how to put this build together. If you guys are enjoying our Elden Ring content, a like would be greatly appreciated. And now let's talk about the build. So I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible, guys. If you guys want to get the Cinquedea, aka the Quinceañera sword or dagger, you're definitely going to want to make sure you check out my video on the location and how to pick that up. I'll definitely leave it right there in the annotation and also in the description. So this is going to be our main weapon we're using. Now, the reason why we like this particular weapon is because it gives us the ability to have the dash of war that allows us to make sure we do this. We do the little slide, okay, which is really effective because when we're fighting enemies, this allows us to actually get away from the enemy or get up close to the enemy, cast our spell, and then get away really fast and really quickly. In addition to that, guys, this weapon gives us the ability to have a 10% boost to any incantations that have to do with bestiality, which makes it really awesome. Now, this particular weapon scales off strength and dexterity. Once fully leveled up, guys, you're going to be able to level this up all the way up to B tier for strength, making it really good, and the requirements are very low for this particular weapon. We're also pairing up this weapon with the Claw Mark Seal, which mine is fully leveled up to plus 25. You theoretically don't have to get it that high up, but I did want to test out and see how well it did when it was fully leveled up. This one also scales off of strength, which coincides perfectly with this because they're both scaling off of strength. But this one does scale out of faith, which you'll talk a little bit more about when we talk about the distribution of points. And this is really amazing because it boosts bestiality incantations. So both of these guys are doing a good amount of damage when it comes to boosting bestiality. This does 10% and this one does 10%, a total of 20% once paired together, which makes it really awesome. In addition to that, guys, we are going to be including other items that are going to make this build even more powerful. So for the gear, guys, the only thing that we're primarily using here, and I'm going to need your help, guys, is I haven't found any item that actually boosts either poise or boost bestiality, because that's what would be more beneficial here. But what I did find was this item right here, which gives us the ability to boost the mind for 3 more points. So 3 more additional points you actually get of mind, which is actually pretty cool, okay? Because we are going to be using a lot of mind because we're pretty much going to be casting the majority of the time. And we want to have our FP very effective, coming back fast, but we also want to have a really high mind stat so we can cast as much as we can. These guys are just pretty much for aesthetics, since this is a beast look. I did want to go and have a very cool looking fashion wardrobe here that actually matched the build, which looks awesome. Next up, guys, we're going to go back to the equipment, and we're using the following, which is the Flock Canvas Talisman, which is going to greatly increase the potency of incantations. This is actually pretty good because remember, the bestiality incantations are incantations, so we're going to want to raise that up as well. We're also gunning the Faithful Canvas Talisman, which is going to raise the potency of incantations. So once again, these are the two of the same ones, raising the incantations here pretty fast and effective. Next up, guys, we're using the Essential Spirit Horn, which is going to restore your FP upon defeating enemies. Remember, we're going to be casting a lot of, as you guys saw in the video, we're going to be casting a lot of incantations. We're going to need our FP back, and this is a good way to actually have it. Last but not least, to tie this all together, guys, we have the Radigan Icon, which is going to shorten the spell casting time, so our incantations are going to be able to be done a lot faster and a lot quicker. Now let's talk a little bit about these spells and what we're using so you guys have a better idea of what exactly is going on, as you guys saw in the clip. So we have a couple incantations. We're running 5, and all of these 5s are actually pretty usable. If you guys see my footage a little bit later in the video, and you saw at the beginning of the video, I'm going to explain exactly what we're doing. So we're running the Beast Claw. Now the Beast Claw is going to be very important because this is the weapon we're going to be used to have a little bit of range. This a little swipe in the ground that causes like a ripple effect, and I'll show you guys exactly what this does so you guys can get a better idea. So the Beast Claw does this real quick. So So it does a nice range attack if you guys have it. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but that's the one that you're going to be using to kind of just finish off enemies as much as you can. Then we have the other spell, which is going to be which is called the Rank Beast Claw, and this is going to be primarily our AOE of effect claw that we're going to be using. As you see right there, it does that, it ground pounds, and it does a nice area effect damage, which we use a lot, especially when enemies are trying to get close to us. And I'm going to explain how this is going to be very effective once you guys hear the whole build out. Next up, guys, we're running the Golden Vow, which is going to increase our attack and defense for selves and allies. This just gives us a little bit more boost to our damage that we have. Then we have the Stone of Gurnak. This is pretty much the one that we're going to use to kill bosses or to kill any enemy that's a distance, and also to infuse the most amount of damage. This one does a ton of damage when you're actually throwing it. So this is the one that we're going to start the fight with, and this is the one that we're pretty much going to be ending most of the fights with, because it's going to be doing a lot of damage. Last but not least, guys, we're using the Bestiality Vitality. This is going to heal your HP over a period of time. So we actually like to pop this one to make sure our health is constantly coming back in case we're getting hit or damage. It gives us a nice little boost of addition. So those are the builds. These are the ones we're kind of using right now, these 5 ones. Now, for the Mix and Wonder Physics, guys, we're running the Stonebird Crack tier. What this is going to allow us to do, which is the reason why we like it, is that it deals a huge amount of poison damage to the enemy, which automatically will make them mostly stagger. So the enemies will be kind of staggering when you're buffed by this particular Wonder Physic. Next up, we're running the Cerebral Hidden tier, which is going to allow us to use our FP or caster abilities without taking any of our FP away, which makes it really fast and potent. Now, for Great Ruins, guys, we're running the Riker Ruin. This is going to restore our HP upon defeating enemies. Really good to have because we want to make sure our HP constantly coming back. Even though we have that nice ability from the Bestiality Vitality getting our health back, there's a very good other way of incentive to actually doing that. Now, I have a guide of where to pick this one up. If you guys don't have the idea of where to pick it up or how to actually activate it, you're more than welcome to check that guide as well. Now, on the top of that, guys, we also have our weapon, which, like I said, our weapon does really good amount of damage because we are pushing this with strength and dexterity. We're going to talk about exactly where we're spending our points, but I just want to share you guys a quick example of what the weapon does and how to use it. So, our primary weapon, which is going to be our light attack, it does that, but when we double tap it, it does 2 consecutive swings. Our heavy attack is a quick swipe, it's not slow, it's actually quick. If we do consecutive, it does almost the same amount of stuff as well. We have a jump attack, which does that. We have a jump light attack, which does that. So one's an upper and one is a lower. We have a dash one as well, which does that quick little dodge, okay, as you see right there. We have a nice one, which is like a little stab when you roll. Our barrel attack, our roll attack, I should say, and then we have our roll attack with the heavy attack, all right? And last but not least, guys, we have our dodge, which is why we love this weapon, because it allows us to have this Sash of War. Even though it does consume a little bit of P, it's still really awesome to have that, you know, very evasive move as well. And last but not least, guys, of course, our weapon. So now let's talk about where you want to spend these points when putting this build together. If you're not high leveled, where do you want to go, and what should be the kind of area that you want to be in when you have the points set up. Alright, guys, so to run this build, guys, what you want to have is 35 in vigor, because you want to make sure you have enough health. On mine, you want to have it to 45. You are going to be using a lot of FP. The higher you have the mine, the more casting you're going to do. And since this is primarily focusing on having a good amount of casting, you want to have this at 45. Endurance we're going to have at 10. It does not that maximum amount of items that you're going to be wearing or having within your inventory, so you don't have to have this any high as well. Strength, you actually do have to put enough points. 45 would be the maximum amount for strength points, because this does scale off strength, so you want to make sure you have enough of that. Dexterity is, I went ahead and we put 20 points in dexterity, and we didn't really do nothing with intelligence, but we did do a lot with faith, which is 45. This is once again the seal. The seal is going to be scaling from faith as well as the incantations, so you want to have enough power in faith and strength. These are the two main ones. Faith and strength are the ones you want to make sure you're pumping points. So if you go over 150, you want to make sure that the first ones you pump into points into faith and dexterity, but this is the base that you want to have. If you are a 150 character, you want to make sure you pump it in here. So once again, your priority is faith and strength. Your second priority would be mind, so you could have enough cast, and your fourth priority would be vigor, just so you have enough health in your arsenal when you're putting this build together. I hope you guys are enjoying these amazing, unique builds that we're putting together for you guys, because they are taking a while to actually do. If you are, guys, do me a huge favor, guys, drop a like. Don't forget to support us, and big shout out to everybody that's becoming a member here on the channel to show some love and support. So thank you guys very much for that. I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.